so her part of it could go to these kids in the world. And as I said, she didn't make it. And I miss her. And unfortunately, this orphanage doesn't exist. States back, countries back, cities back, they're back in prostitution, you name it. But she was a woman of achievement who never got a chance to be honored. And her book honors her, I hope, to this day. But I think it's very important when it comes to achievement to have books. And I don't know if you know CDs and all that. I think you need books. But you need. And you have to remember that in achieving things, on yourself. Even if it's just a little bit a day. Go ahead, put a little more sugar in your coffee. Have another sweet. Achievements are second to second, minute to minute, year to year, lifetime to lifetime. Achievement is just brief. So bear in mind, every time you breathe successfully, when you're on association, get my left. Every time you breathe.
Good morning. Good morning. Ms. Bonner, you're not leaving from us.
No, not because I got to check Mayor.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. A big part of the celebration this morning. What is turning out to be a wonderful, beautiful day. And I recognize that I am what's standing between you and enjoying the rest of this beautiful day. But it's been
I wanted to get that plug over there.
Singers and preachers and
Oh, I'm
this
good.
young man here.
I'm gonna go get over there by the coffee maker.
Go to her. Go to
Well, shooting that way is into the sun. I mean, it's glaring.
You know, all week long, ever since my commissioner said you're speaking on the topic of extraordinary women, I said, why in the heck would anybody call an assembly a guy to talk about extraordinary women? And then as I reflected on what to say as a comment, it's because I'm impacted moment to moment, day to day, week to week by extraordinary women. We've referenced God. He saw fit right from the get-go that Adam was lost without a woman. Okay? He took care of that right away. And all through the history of the Bible, you have a lot of stories in there about men and what they, basically how they screwed up. But if you go back, I'm going to challenge you to go back if you have the opportunity and Google search women in the Bible and read the women in the Bible. Because if you study the women in the Bible, you're going to find extraordinary stories about extraordinary women who made a difference in who we are today. So I encourage you to do that as well. Yesterday I had the distinct pleasure, you guys are important to the modeling and the bringing up of our children. And there's no doubt, we spoke about how slaves were taught to read, their education. There's no doubt, and there should not be any doubt in anyone's mind, that education of these children is paramount in everyone's priority. Right. Education is key to success in our civilization as individuals, and it is up to us as adults to make sure that they're positively educated well. If they fail, if a child grows up uneducated, it is not their fault, it is our fault. Because we didn't do what we did. Yesterday I had the opportunity to hear Brad Cohen. Brad Cohen suffers from Tourette syndrome. And you all know what that is. He makes quirky noises and it jerks and your eyes flash. And he told the story about how when he was growing up and went to school, and people didn't know what Tourette syndrome was at that time. They thought he was lashing out, trying to be a class clown, trying to be the one that disrupts the room so that nobody would learn. And teachers singled him out and forced him out of the classroom because they didn't understand. And it took one person, and finally the principal of the school he went to him and said, "Child, what's the story?" He said, "I don't know. My mother doesn't know. My father doesn't know. Our doctors don't know. I just can't stop myself." And he said, "Let's learn." And he said, "Let's learn what's going on, and then let's teach the rest of this school what's going on. And let's try to make a difference. And let's try to figure out how to make education key." So they researched, they learned, and together they held a school assembly. Together he told his story. He told his story after being ridiculed, beaten up, made fun of, poked at. He told his story that this is my story. He took the courage to stand up and do an extraordinary thing. From that day on, they accepted him. At that day, at that moment, he said, "I want to be a teacher. I want to be in the business of education." And my point to this, it took one principal, one person, doing one thing to change a man's life. To recognize how important and how easy it is for one person to make a difference for so many. You drive your bus, other people do their work. You touch people every single day. You touch them, and they're enriched by you. If you're reaching out to them in a positive, warm, caring, loving attitude. You must. It is up to us as individuals. It is up to us as people of God. It is up to us as people responsible for children to make certain that when we wake up in the morning, we're in the right attitude, the right place, and that we make a difference in at least one person's life each single day. Now, Brad Cohen is now the vice principal at Addison Elementary School, doing outstanding things for those kids because he loves those kids. Now, extraordinary women. We've honored a lot today. The booklet honors several more. It's worth reading. But I want to take a moment to honor those folks, those women in this room, in this county, in this state, in this nation, who daily affect other people's lives positively, but goes unrecognized. I know there are women in this room who do that moment to moment to moment. You do what's right, you touch people positively, and make sure that we live in a better place, you take care of the children. Now, us men, who unfortunately dominate the workplace, we're waking up that that's not the smartest thing to do. It's just taking us a little time. Okay? We think, and to your point, we think we invented multitasking. We're just following the models that said by all the women. Point, I saw my mother raised 4 boys that were within 5 years apart. She is a saint. She is a saint. If she knew, which I think she did, half the stuff we did and we thought we didn't get caught.
She knew.
Yeah, she knew, right. But she always was there for us no matter what. Even later years in her failing health, she put us boys first, and she multitasked beyond belief. I just didn't recognize it at the time. Even when she was fighting cancer and survived, and was a cancer survivor, she never gave up on us boys and made us a priority. If that isn't a servant leader, if that isn't a woman of significant accomplishment, and all she did was do what she thought was her job, was to raise 4 boys so that we would be better than her, contribute more, and I think she did a great job of it. And like your friend, my mom passed about 3 years ago. So I'll leave you with this. Wake up in the morning with the attitude that today I'm going to make a positive impact in at least one person's life. I would ask that it be a child. I would ask her to be a child, listen to that child. Sometimes all they want to do is talk. Don't tell them what you know. It's clear you know more than them. It's clear. And yes, you can teach them, but oftentimes you can teach them just by listening. Just by listening. Often, I wondered sometimes when I raised my children, why sometimes they did the same thing over and over and over again. When I kept telling them it's the wrong thing to do. Well, I knew what I was saying, but what I didn't recognize is what they were hearing. So one time, I don't know why, but I one time asked one of my sons to write down why he did what he did, what he thought about it, and whether he thought it was right or wrong. And he wrote that paper for me, and in his mind, he didn't understand why it was wrong. No matter how many times I told him, he didn't understand it. So I asked him to write again, and he wrote again, and he finally understood it through his own process. And then I also asked him, then he finally realized, I see now why it's wrong, not because you told me, but because I figured it out. So then I asked him, well, what should your punishment be? He gave me a punishment 10 times more severe than I would have ever given him. Well, I said, well, you know, I was going to get rougher on your son, but I think you have a fair bet. So we're going to stick with it. And as a result of him defining what was wrong, as him defining the recognition finally what was wrong, and him defining his own punishment, it changed. And it didn't change because of what I did, it's because I listened. So I encourage you to reach out, keep a positive attitude, touch the children, listen to the children, and then we, as we retire in our senior years, can be proud of the generation, because again, if this generation fails, it's not their fault. Because I am honored to be here in part of this group, and I appreciate you having me here this morning. Thank you.